Welcome to Late Diagnosed, where I share my experience in being late diagnosed with ADHD and autism. Hi, my name's Michelle, and I was late diagnosed with ADHD and autism at age 54. Today I want to look at 5 things that I found out about being late diagnosed with ADHD and autism. 5 things that I experience. First one is stomach issues. When I was 13, I had an episode where I fainted, and it was a bit odd, so Mum had that investigated. And after some investigation, a doctor diagnosed me with irritable bowel syndrome. And it was something that I just managed over my life. I always had stomach issues, I always had digestive problems. I would describe it as, like my guts kind of feeling, off, like they weren't kind of working the way that they should. But I didn't really investigate any further until I was much later in life. And in fact, it wasn't until I had another fainting episode in my late 30s on my way to work. I was feeling really, really faint. The familiar feeling of my ears going warm and feeling really, really lightheaded and knowing what was coming, that I was going to pass out, happened to me when I was on the train on the way to work. And I fainted. I dropped. I was standing room only, and I collapsed. I tried to make it to the next station so that I could get off and sit down, but I didn't make it that far. And I woke to people asking if I was okay, helping me up, sitting me on a seat, someone offering me water, someone even offering to walk me to work when I got off the train. What I ended up doing was walking straight into the doctor's surgery and asking for further tests. And then started the process. I think on memory it was about 2 years before we actually found something. Doctors found that there was inflammation in my body but couldn't find out why. So we did a plethora of tests. We did tumour markers, we did blood tests, we did ultrasounds, we did a bunch of different tests, and nothing really showed up what the cause of it was. Until shortly before my 40th birthday, one of my girlfriends who had been diagnosed with celiac disease about 18 months prior suggested that I go and get tested for that, or at least try a gluten-free diet. So I did all of that, and it came back that yes, I had celiac disease. And once I stopped eating gluten, it was life-changing, and the symptoms immediately ceased. So apparently stomach issues are very much related to gut health. Gut health is also related to your nervous system. And your nervous system is very strongly affected when you are autistic, because someone with autism is more likely to have stomach issues and food intolerances. And I'm not sure whether that's because the neurodivergent person is trying to fit into a neurotypical world and therefore their nervous system can be quite dysregulated, or whether or not there's a gut biome issue between nervous system dysregulation and the gut system. I'm not really sure. So I can't say, because I'm not a medical professional, whether or not those two are related. But that's certainly something that I've found out since being diagnosed, is that there is a higher prevalence of people who are on the spectrum, who have food intolerances and who have related stomach issues. Delayed processing is another thing for me, and this is a 2-part thing for me. When I'm in flow state or hyperfocus, and I'm interrupted, it actually glitches my brain. So I had this happen this week. I had a colleague contact me and ask me for an answer on something that they were working on, but I was in the middle of working on something really, really complex that was taking an awful lot of brain power for me to process and get through. And so the fact that they rang out of the blue, didn't give me any warning, and requested that I give them an answer on to what they were working on, I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. I tried to explain to them that I was in the middle of something else and I couldn't just switch, that transitions for me are really hard. And they ended up saying, okay, no problem. Look, I'll go away and sort it out myself. But that left me feeling really dysregulated, because it was something that they needed my input on, but I couldn't give it immediately, and I can't. And I find that really hard. Being able to provide them with that information, I need time to respond. I need time to think about what it is that they're asking and then work out what it is that they need and then provide that to them later. I can't do it in the moment. It's especially when I'm in the middle of something else. I find that really, really hard, and it had the effect of completely dysregulating me for the rest of the day. It took a long time for me to get back into the flow of what I was doing previously, and then the rest of the day I was completely lost mentally. I ended up having to call a work colleague and talk over how I was feeling because I just could not get out of that negative headspace after not being able to answer them, but more than that, of them not understanding the why and me feeling once again misunderstood. It was a huge, huge problem for me. Another thing that autistic people have is a special interest. Now, a lot of times those special interests can just be put down to a quirk or, something that someone enjoys. It could be anything. It could be, hiking. It could be rock climbing. It could be anything. For me, it's natural disasters, and it's been that since I can remember. Well, since I was in an earthquake when I was 4 years old in Papua New Guinea, and I've always had a huge interest in natural disasters. When I was in high school was when Mount St. Helens erupted, and I remember doing a massive, great big project on that in school, more than what was required, which was more than what I normally did for anything, but it was more than what was required, and it was because I was so interested in it. I remember getting the National Geographic back in those days. Mum and Dad had a subscription, and the old fold-out pages that they had with all of the scenic photography of what had happened then, because of course encyclopedias were how we got our information back then, not like we do now. And I've since tried to find that same National Geographic so that I can relive, I guess, those moments and how excited I was about reading all of the information that came out of Mount St. Helens and all of the photography that was taken at the time. Now, because there's so much easy access to video with everyone with our phones, and in fact I'm filming on my phone right now, there's so much more available, and I actually really enjoy it. As one of those things that I do to help me regulate is watching different videos that are posted on a variety of natural disasters that happen around the world. I find it quite fascinating how the earth moves and all of the different things behind it. So that's definitely one of my special interests. Another thing is a strong sense of justice. I've always had that justice streak, and I didn't know that it was attributable to ADHD and autism, or maybe just one or the other. But it's always been something that has been very, very strong for me. I find it really, really grating when something is unfair. And more so when it's something is unfair for someone that I love or for myself, especially when it's something that, you've been fighting for or something that is right. It's a huge thing for me when something is not just. I don't think I'd do well in the legal field. Hypersensitivity. I've spoken before about the senses and how they are affected. But hypersensitivity, things like fluorescent lights, open public spaces, noise, strong smells, and being overstimulated by multiple senses. So if I'm in an open area and suddenly I get this overwhelming sensory input, it could be a huge crowd approaching that is just loud, really loud, and then couple that with banging in the background and music that I find grating and a strong smell from some food that I don't enjoy. Those things can absolutely overload my brain and I can go into shutdown. Fatigue and exhaustion. What it takes to live in a neurotypical world and fit costs me energy. And so I'm tired a lot of the time. And it's because my brain is working overtime to fit in, to work out how it fits in, to work out what's expected of me, and then to provide that. And when I do that, it costs me energy. So I am tired a lot of times. But also when I'm in an environment that is overstimulating, my brain just absorbs all of that stimuli and has to process it somehow. And when it processes it, it uses energy to do that. And so I find myself tired a lot of the time. Those are just some of the things I found out are traits common for those with autism or ADHD or both. I'm still finding out so much more about myself. What works, what doesn't, why I am the way that I am, and why I like things the way that I like them. The neurodivergent experience is not the same for everybody. It's the same as expecting that, me compared to my neighbour is the same, and it's not. So I am very different to anyone else who's neurodivergent. because I'm an individual. The same as anyone who's neurotypical, you don't expect them to be the same as the person, they live next door to. We're all unique. We're all different. And what I hope in sharing my story is that not only am I raising awareness on what it's like to be late diagnosed and how difficult it is to unmask and navigate life on the spectrum, but also I want to raise awareness that we are all different. And that's okay. We're all unique. We all have unique experiences. We all experience the world differently to those around us. And to have more tolerance and more understanding for those in our world, just so that we understand each other. Something I'm finding out about myself is that when I'm dysregulated, my tolerance levels are much lower. When I'm in a safe space, when I'm at home, when I'm around people that I know love me and understand me, I feel safe. And that to me is a place where I can feel regulated, where I can feel comfortable. When I'm outside of those spaces, sometimes that's a little bit harder. And so I have to make allowances for that. And I have to understand that it's okay to not feel okay and to make sure that my needs are met. And by saying that, understanding that some things are going to cost me energy and I'm going to be tired. And so if I'm planning a night out with friends, for example, that I don't plan anything for the next day. So that if I need some time alone, if I need some time to regulate, I can take the time I need to do that. And that's okay too. I'm still learning what works for me and what doesn't. And I'm trying to find the right balance for me as well. Quick disclaimer, I'm just sharing my own experience. I'm not a medical professional. And if any of these symptoms are things that you're experiencing and you're not diagnosed, I would go and talk to your doctor, go and talk to your psychologist and ask for further testing if that's something that you want to do. Or if perhaps you've noticed those symptoms in someone that you love, share this video with them. See if it's something that they want to look at. More than anything in sharing my story, I hope to raise awareness that life after being late diagnosed is not over, but also to help you feel less alone, less like a failure, and to understand that we are each unique. And that, my friend, is a beautiful thing. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. If you like this content, please hit the like button, hit subscribe, and if you'd like to share the video, please share it so that we can spread the word that even if you too are late diagnosed, you can also learn how to live life on the spectrum. Thanks for watching.